There's just so much I would do differently if I started my journey over today. Like from this healed, wise place. You know, there's just so much I would do differently. And there's so much I wish that someone would have told me about this journey. And that's what I want to share in this video today. I want to speak to me in 2012 and give them the heads up about all the potholes, all of the roadblocks, all of the detours, so that my journey can be a lot smoother, or that your journey could be a lot smoother. So that's essentially what this video is about.
With the healing and the wisdom that you have now, what would be the first thing you'd do differently?
All right, so Brix, 2012, lost his job, feeling depressed, diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety. What would I do first? I would rent a cabin somewhere in the woods. I would leave my phone. I would make sure that there's no Wi-Fi, there's no TV, and I would just sit with myself for 3 days with a notepad. And that's it. I would sit, I would think, I would ask myself questions, and I would just write for 3 days straight with the purpose of learning where I am and what's going on with me. Like, why did I gain 150 pounds after high school? Like, why? That's not normal. I would need to know why first. I would get quiet. I would listen to what the voice in my head is doing. I would let it scare me. I would let it make me feel extremely uncomfortable. And I would just write everything down for 3 days straight. That's what I would do. You can't fucking start a journey if you don't know where you're starting. And a lot of us, we start these journeys and we immediately try to put diet and exercise on top of shit, right? We're trying to change surface level habits, but deep down underneath, we have a wound there. We have some shit going on at the bottom that no matter how much dieting and exercise we do, it's not going to fix it. So I would sit with myself so I can figure out the root of the issue, of the problem that I'm trying to solve. Immediately, I would have learned from my 3 days in the cabin that I got a lot of mental and emotional shit that I need to address, right? I didn't address any of that in the beginning. It was like it didn't exist. My mommy issues, my complex relationship with food, the fact that I used to abuse food and use it to escape my emotions. I didn't know any of that stuff. So what I did was I put a diet on top of it, some restriction, which actually made my relationship with food worse in the beginning. It created this compulsion that wasn't really helpful. Did it help me lose weight? Yes. Would I do it differently? Obviously, right? But I also feel like it happened exactly how it was supposed to.
Do you think that you back then, sitting in if somebody told you, hey man, like you hired a coach, and he's like, hey man, go sit in the cabin, paid for it, here's a journal, go write, nothing. Do you think that you would have come up with the root causes that you have now identified? Like, what do you think that experience would have been like for you?
That's a really good question. If I would have had a little guidance, if I would have had someone say, hey, listen, what you're dealing with here is not an issue with the fact that you just like to overeat. The issue is some mental and emotional stuff, right? The issue is some shit that happened to you in your childhood. That's where it all started. So with that at least baseline understanding, I definitely would not have wanted to do it. I'd have been like, bro, you're fucking crazy. I probably wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
To be completely honest. But this is from the perspective of me now, right?
Yeah.
But anyone listening to this right now, I think that can be the most life-changing thing. To spend 3 days alone, by yourself, no distractions, no TV, just you, your thoughts, and a notepad. I think that can change any man's life.
Now, what would you say to, the man who has a family? Like, like a practical way to implement stillness in a busy life that's full of and doesn't necessarily offer that kind of freedom.
No, I get that.
Like what could a man who's like, you know what, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, but I want to at least try it. How could he? What do you have for him?
I would say carve out an additional hour in your day, ideally in the morning. So if you wake up at 6, commit yourself, and I would do it for a month, right? If you can't do 3 days straight, I would commit to 1 month of waking up early and just sitting in silence and writing what your thoughts and your emotions are doing. Like, just write it down. No judgment, no editing. Just sit down and write what you're thinking and feeling. And if nothing's coming up, just write, yo, nothing's coming up. And just keep writing. Just keep the pen moving. If you have never practiced meditation, I would start off by just learning the principles of meditation during that time. And then just start to listen to that voice in your head. That's it. Just listen. Don't judge it. Don't create a story around whatever it's saying. Just observe it as if you're a third-party perspective, as if you're someone else listening and observing your own thoughts. And just practice that every morning for 30 days straight. That's what I would do. It's more practical. If someone would have told Fat Brix, bro, you don't think you're worthy of love, I'd have been like, bro, what the fuck are you talking about? I love myself. Look at all this shit I bought for myself.
I can just hear that.
Yeah, like, bro, you see, yo, I got women that love me. It would have just been this whole. So I get why that could be a very like ambiguous concept, but when you think about love as the way you treat yourself, you treat your body, the way you talk to yourself in your head, right? The way you handle yourself when you're having challenging moments. That's really, to me, like that's really the signs of how much you love or don't love yourself. You know, so for someone looking to get clarity on, okay, well, damn, do I love myself? Like, are you kind to yourself? Do you give yourself grace? The type of grace that God gives you. All right, so it's now day 4. I spent 3 days in the cabin. I now know I have so many things related to my childhood, related to my relationship with my mom, related to my experience with food in my household growing up. I have so many things that I need to address. I need to heal, right? So before I start on a diet and exercise regimen, I'm focusing on healing that stuff. Obviously, I'm starting to make small tweaks to the way that I eat. I'm starting to move more, but not with the intention of like burning calories, right? I'm moving as an expression of love for myself. I'm now framing exercise as one step I can take towards loving myself, right? I'm framing eating a salad as love for myself, right? What I'm doing next, after I'm making these small little tweaks, and all it is a shift in the perspective, the way you're looking at it. It's one thing to eat a salad or exercise because, yo, I want to lose 3 pounds this week. That energy, especially on top of a wound, right? On top of like some emotional shit that you need to address, it's a dead end. It takes you to a dead end. So that's the first thing. I'm tweaking my reason why I'm making healthier eating choices, and I'm doing it slowly. I'm doing it with grace. I'm doing it understanding that this is not going to be an overnight change. It's going to take time. And then if we're going to do any training, I'm going to train myself to develop discipline, but discipline rooted in love.
Yeah, so give me an example of discipline not rooted in love.
There's several signs of discipline, like unhealthy discipline. One being you're doing it because you're trying to fix yourself in some way, right? And normally if you quote unquote mess up, you beat yourself up, right? If you don't show up perfect, that's usually an unhealthy discipline.
You're 160 pounds heavier. What would your approach look like from this like more healthier, joyful place?
So after my 3 days in the woods, I now have all this information about myself. I understand that self-awareness is the first step, and then healing is the second step, right? Once, what my man Jay said, you can't heal what you never reveal. So the 3 days in the wood is designed to reveal all the things that you need to heal. So instead of focusing on diet and exercise at first, I'm healing. And what does that look like? First, I am reading as much as I can about the entire concept of emotional healing, so that I can learn what that actually fucking means. I can give you guys a framework. I actually give you guys a framework. The link to it is in the description. It is my self-mastery starter kit. It is the perfect first step for anyone who's listening to this and it resonates with you, right? This is for those of us who look like we got our shit together on the outside, but deep down inside we are struggling with some things. We're looking for joy, for fulfillment, for purpose, for clarity in life. So if that is you, click the link, download that guide. So that's the first thing I would do, right? But no, seriously, learning about healing, because I remember hearing it all the time. Bro, you need to heal. It's like, what does that mean? What does that actually mean practically? I would learn what it meant and what it looked like to practically heal, and whatever resources I had access to, if that was therapy, if that was a mentorship, if that was some sort of support group, I would try to get a part of it, right? I would try to put myself in an environment that supported my healing, supported me learning more about what's going on beneath the surface. That's the first thing. It would just be, I would continue the inner exploration. So now that I'm focusing on healing instead of trying to put a band-aid on it, which is diet and exercise and this whole grind of, I need to try to lose 3 pounds a week. And this is the insight I'm going to give you from someone who has gone through that journey. Once you start healing and you start to love yourself and you start to love your body better, making healthier eating choices and healthier lifestyle choices become organic. You do it naturally, because you'll realize that you've been abusing food and escaping your emotions with food and being lazy. It was just your lack of love and your lack of respect for yourself surfacing in behavior or lifestyle choices. Once you realize that, you start making better choices organically. Now, making the choice to go to the gym and to eat healthy from that place versus doing it from the place of, oh fuck, I'm fat, I hate myself, so I gotta eat the salad. Two totally different experiences. One is way more sustainable, one is healthy. One honestly leads to burnout, leads to more complexities in your relationship with food. So that's the main thing, right? Once I got the self-awareness, I'm learning about myself, I'm spending time with myself every day in quiet, I'm journaling, I'm meditating, I'm breathing, whatever tools you find that helps you in your healing journey. That's the next step, right? Then I am intentionally working on discipline. This part I'm going to speak to the men directly. Every man should have a set of disciplines in his life that kind of mold his identity, right? I have my morning routine where I do the same things every single day, and it may change, but you have to work. Discipline is a muscle. So if you're currently eating fast food every day, you are escaping your emotions with food, you're not really aware of what's going on, you feel lazy, you feel bloated all the time, you feel heavy, you can't really move well. Starting a weight loss journey and trying to discipline yourself in the gym without working on your discipline first. If I needed to chop down a tree, I would spend the first 30 minutes sharpening my blade, essentially. I forget how the fucking term, how the saying goes, but you guys understand what I'm saying. If you want to chop down a tree, the best investment of energy is to sharpen your blade first. So if you want to lose weight, which we know requires discipline, well, let's first work on strengthening the discipline muscle by instilling certain disciplines, certain habits in your life that support your healing and your self-awareness. I think discipline is a part of a healing journey, but only discipline rooted in love, not discipline rooted in ego or fear, right? When you're disciplined, like for instance, I practice yoga and I meditate every morning. That is a discipline that doesn't directly lead to my body being the best, right? It doesn't contribute aesthetically, but it's a discipline that helps me explore myself, learn myself, sit with my own thoughts, sit with my emotions, so I can learn what the fuck is going on beneath the surface, right? So that way I have a view of the playing field, right? You know, kind of like when teams watch game footage. Meditation feels like I'm watching game footage of my own life. And now I have the information to strategize. I don't like that word strategy here, but I can play the game properly because I understand what's going on offense and defense, what's going on in my inner world. So instead of just going out like, oh, let me go run some sprints so I can run this game, I can play and win this game. Nah, let me watch some game footage. Let me see what the hell's going on. And then I can focus on all the other training. Healing helps you recognize that there are things you should be doing every day to support your healing. And those things that you do every day become your disciplines. Mm-hmm. You feel what I'm saying? They become your disciplines. They become the things you do to help you learn things about yourself, to help you heal. Mm-hmm. And that discipline that you develop from committing yourself to doing these things every day, whether that's journaling, meditation, breath work, yoga, whatever it is that they decide to do, that discipline then translates to the discipline required to lose weight. Mm-hmm. This all may sound extremely complex, and I could just imagine Fat Brix hearing this. I don't know. I don't think I give him enough credit. I think honestly, this stuff would have landed with Fat Brix.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hate when I do that. I gotta stop doing that. I make Fat Brix out to be some fucking numbskull.
Well, that's residue, smart. You know.
Yeah. And I'm look, guys. I'm still healing right now, real time. Me atoning. Like, I need to give Fat Brix more love. He was a brilliant dude. Anyway, guys, listen. At the end of the day, it's about healing. It's about intentionally developing discipline. It's about nurturing your spirit, nurturing your connection with God intentionally, like creating space, time every day to connect with God. Then it's about taking everything that you've learned and becoming it, making it who you are, not just something that you are trying to do. You're making it who you are. And that's a process in itself, right? Embodiment. Like, it's one thing to be able to understand all of this stuff in your head, write it down on paper, but it's another thing to live it. And that's the ultimate goal, right? Is to live it. And all of this is a process. Again, you can learn more about this process in the Self-Mastery Starter Kit. The link is in the description below. I'm going to be doing one free training every month, interactive. You could ask me questions. I want to support you guys on this journey. I've learned so much, and I wish I had a guide. I wish I had a teacher. I wish I had someone to kind of put me on about, you know, what this process is actually like. So I want to support you with that. All right. So click the link in the description, download the Self-Mastery Starter Kit. And remember, the body, the life, the relationship, everything you want is owned by a higher version of yourself. So evolve. Peace.